Hey, good night, guys. I do the reading, the book club thing, but I'm changing it, slightly changing it up a little bit. We just talk um about things, just a topic. Okay, do a little oh God, like talking about stuff. For example, tonight, E and J is on his way. Together we are E and J Lifestyle Farm. Guys, we do the work, wanna watch the video. All you have to do is like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be a part of the E and J Lifestyle Farm. Okay, you know what we do on the farm, guys. Anyway, guys, tonight I want to talk about our autumn years. Okay, growing old. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your life, at some point we're going to have to face reality that we are growing old, because when we born, the baby that born right now, tomorrow they're not going to say, oh, the baby is 1 day young. They're going to be saying the baby is 1 day old. So the moment you're born, the clock starts ticking and you're now older. You're 1 hour older, 1 day older. It's just older. So for people like me, I'm going to talk about myself. I'm 50 years old, and since I turned 50, I really start thinking about life, and the changes that happens in our life when we turn like 50, So I'm looking at the autumn years, Yeah, autumn years, and the do's and the don'ts, when we get to a certain age, when we get to these, like in our 40s, from we start hit 40, we have to start to, start think. Because when you start hit 40, say after 40 or 50, when you hit 50, say after 50 or 60, Yeah. And then when you're 60, say after 60 or 70, and it just a go and 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 a go. And in a no time, to be honest, the time flown past, and you wonder where the time has gone. You understand? So we just have to grab the years as it comes and just start understanding things, the do's and the don'ts, while we are growing old. Because a lot of us, as we grow older, we start put weight on, and it is very hard to sort of lose weight when you get older. It does. Sometimes you have to go through some drastic things to really lose the weight. And sometimes when you lose the weight, it's like you start to look, things start happening with you and you just look different and things like that. So when you get to like 40, you have to start to know, say, you're going to think about your diet. Guys, your diet is important. Exercise, diet and exercise is very important. And like the thing like smoking. Thomas and Percy Studio, hello, how are you? I'm here just talking about growing old, because it is something that's very scary, when you get to a certain point. And it is also a very important part of life, growing old. Hey, hey, what is the name? KCC. Hi, are you sad about that? No, 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 I'm not. No, I'm not sad about it. But what happened, um, I can't be sad about growing old. I have to be happy. But sometimes you sort of think about it, because with growing old, with age comes other, things like, remember, with age comes, you're looking at a farm, right? Say for example, you're completing a farm, and over the years you start completing all these farms from a very young age, and then you start moving up from like 18 to 25, then 25 to say 35, 30, and then and then when you look, you suddenly complete in a farm, and then you saw you're in the bracket of like 50 to 65, and you're like, when did I get here? So I'm not really sad about it. Oh my God, I couldn't. No, I'm not sad about it. But you can't be sad about growing old. But it is something that sometimes people don't accept. It's acceptance. Once you can accept something, then you start feel good about it. But a lot of people don't accept it, because no, people don't want gray hair in their hair, like hair. Oh yes, I understand. It's a very nice to see your life view. Yeah, true. And with age comes a lot of things. Some people have sort of regrets getting to certain age, because it really depends, because some people believe that, oh, they didn't achieve certain things at certain time, and then they got to the big age and feeling, like, oh my God, now I'm gonna have to chase like dreams now. And we're not saying anything wrong with accomplishing your dreams and aspirations late in life, but when you get to certain age and you're just trying now to achieve it, which life is a little, the world changes, because in my period, I'm from Jamaica, right? But I'm not living there. But when I was growing up, because I'm a 1970s baby, right? And when I was growing up back home in Jamaica, we heard, what I grew up and heard is that in 2000 years, the world is going to come to an end when it's year 2000. So a lot of people, like my mom, my parents, and things like that, they live their life and don't do a lot, because they're looking at, oh, what's the point? Because 2000 is coming, and what is going to happen after that? There's no need to chase after any dreams and any this and any that. Just keep living and praying that, so that when 2000 come, you go to heaven. And that is what a lot of people back in the days, because I was a child that thought that 2000, the world was going to come to an end. And it didn't. It didn't. And look, it's 2024 now, you know? And when, so growing old comes with a lot, because the experiences, your past experiences, whether it's good, it's bad, whether it was a rocky road, or it was a level playing field, or it was easy for you, you achieve everything in your life was just good for you, you're born with a gold spoon into your mouth and things like that. Yes, I do. Of course I do, but I'm only explaining what I grew up hearing. And I think that because of that, it sort of put a lot of people, in a position that they don't try to push themselves to achieve more out of their life. And then when they get to a certain stage, they want to push themselves at that later stage. But sometimes with age, now when you get to a certain age, there are do's and don'ts, when you get to a certain age. But of course I do believe, but growing old, I'm just talking about growing old because there's a lot of things that you have to put into perspective when you pass a certain age. Yeah. Yes, like your finances. Yeah. And say for example in England here, if you when you get to a certain age in England here, you have to start to think about your finances and how much money you have in the bank, your savings and all that, because all of that counts when you get to old age. And a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know that there is a threshold of money, like your savings, that if you has more than over that threshold, and say for example you get to the age where you require like care and support, that your local council will not help you, will not fund anything for you. So even though you work hard, you pay your tax and everything, if you are over a certain threshold, and the minimum threshold is 23,250 pounds. So if you've got 23,250 pounds in savings, in your savings account, you are classed as a self-funder, what a self-funder mean, that you have to fund for your own care and support without the help or assistance of your local council, even though you pay your national insurance, your tax over the years. You understand? Even if you're a pensioner, once you've got that money, you're gonna have to spend it, and until it finish, until that money done and get down to a low level, then that is only when the council will help you. And sometimes when I look at that with some people, I'm like, oh my God, it is so sad. And it sort of raised an eyebrow for me. I'm thinking, working hard, paying this tax, owning a house, all of that. When you get to old age, guys, that sometimes the same house, you have to sell the house. Sometimes you have to end up sell up, and you have to fund for your care if you're going into like a residential home. So yes, so when you get to old age, there's a lot to consider about, because when an individual get to like old age, and if they sort of require care and support, and they are now going to be placed into like a nursing home or a residential home, then they will need to sell the house. So even if you own a house, that house that you pay, 25 years from mortgage, you're gonna have to sell it to pay back for you to live in a nursing home. And it's not cheap to live in a nursing home, guys. It is definitely is not cheap. It is not cheap, because sometimes it can cost up even £1,000 a week to live in a residential home. You understand? So growing old is something that you have to start think about when you get to a certain age. It's a reality that we all have to face. From the moment you're born, you have to face that reality. You understand? And even though we've got children and all that, we cannot rely on our children to support us. So we have to make sure that we put our finances in order. Okay? So when you're working, make sure that you put your finances in order. So that's just one part of growing old. Okay? And your eating habits, when you reach at a certain age again, you now have to start consider about looking at your eating habits. Okay? And you have to balance that diet, guys. So, like, too much protein is not that good. All these holy parade meat, and you have to cut down on that, when you get to a certain age. And guys, lack of exercise is another big thing for some of us getting to a certain age, because it's just not easy. Because remember, we're getting older, but we still have to work, and sometimes we don't have the time to put the exercise in, put the time in to do the exercise. We'll start it, and then because life chose what, the business around everything in our life, we decide that, oh, you know what, exercise can stay, exercise can stay. But guys, being overweight again when we get to a certain age is also another factor. You understand? Yeah. It is also another factor that we have to also look out for, and try to eat right and exercise. Yeah. So those are the little things we have to really look out for. And guys, we have to sort of get our regular checkup as well. When there is this checkup, like when you turn 40, you go to your GP. Here in England, you go to the GP, and the GP, you will do like it's called a full body checkup. Yeah, and they will check everything, from your blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, everything, your BMI, body mass index, everything. They will check and see if what's happening there, and then I think when you're 50 again, because I'm due for one, I need to ring up the GP to do another one, because I did that full one when I was I did it when I was 40, and now I'm 50, so I need to do another one. So I'm just talking about that. It's not that I'm worried or regretting or anything about aging. No, I cannot do that, because I really work hard, and it's not really about me of such. It's just in general, especially when you work like in the field of health. You sort of see the things that's happening every day, and it sort of put you in a perspective. So sometimes you want to share with people, because there's a lot of lack of knowledge about aging, and growing, and people getting older, and the things that we should eat less, and the things that we should do more. There's the lack of that sort of information, because really and truly, nobody want to hear that they're getting old. Nobody want to accept it, because they said people in their 40s, you can't say they're getting old. People in their 50s, is not everybody in their 50s thinking about getting old. They say they're not old. Because a lot of people say that age is just a number. You understand? Age is just a number, and they are not getting old. So no one wants to really accept that they're getting old. So that is a factor, guys. So with again, with age, we have to try to do at least 30 minutes of exercise, at least maybe 3 times a week. If you can push it to 4 times a week, it would be great. You understand? Any little thing, even walking, guys. When you get to a certain age, even walking is a form of exercise. Like, you can walk. You can just decide that, okay, I'm walking. I'm going to start walk for, you can just start maybe say, okay, I'm going to walk for like 15 minutes first, because when you're doing exercise, you don't have to take on it big at first. Anything in life that you're doing, anything, start small. And once you start small, you will eventually get gradually, by gradually growing anything at all, even this YouTube channel. I remember when I started this YouTube channel, I was the first subscriber to the channel, and I never even knew that I would be even on YouTube talking to you guys, so anything you're doing, and you can't rush. And even this YouTube channel has taught me that you cannot rush things, because things will come at the right time. It will come, so you cannot rush things. And so back to the topic about growing old and what the do's and the don'ts for staying young. Okay, so growing old but staying young, because none of us in our 50s look like we in our 40s, and who in their 60s look like them in their 50s, and people in their 70s look like they're in their 60s. That's how it goes once you do the right thing. So now when you get to the age where like 50, you now have to start do the do's. You have to know the do's and the don'ts. You understand? So the do's and the don'ts for staying young. But you're older, you're getting old. But there are do's and don'ts for staying young. I always say that minimizing something is more important than saying that, oh, I'm going to prevent it, I'm going to cut it off. You just think that you're minimizing it. Even with exercise, if you think you're overweight and you want to lose a bit of weight, you can't be saying that, oh, I'm going to exercise to lose weight, because you're going to set up yourself to fail. You will set up yourself to failure, because you're not going to say that you're going to exercise to lose weight. But you have to exercise so that you're thinking to yourself that, okay, I want to exercise so that I minimize the risk of putting on more weight. If you want, because sometimes you just exercise to keep fit, and it's nothing to do with losing weight. You can be happy with your weight. You understand? Because it's not everybody's going to born. We are all different, and it's everybody born with a different body build. You understand? Some of us born with body build that no care how much them eat, they won't add weight. And some people, sometimes they don't eat and they'll add a little weight. You understand? So you can't compare yourself with somebody else and say, oh, that person, that, you understand? Because you can see somebody eating something, and they eat and they eat and they eat and they eat and they eat, and they never add weight. And sometimes you're not even eating so much and you put weight on, because of the different build of the body, and your different lifestyle as well. So yes, guys, so trying to stay young when you're in 50s, as I'm saying, staying young, I don't mean that you're not gonna move from 50, because doesn't matter how you take it, when your birthday come again, you're gonna move from that age that you at now. Your birthday come, you will be moving up. You understand? You will be getting up, 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 up. So it's not that you're getting younger in age, but you can still maintain the physique and looking, young. So what you can do as well is make sure you eat fresh fruit, yeah, and vegetables. And most of the time, guys, it's best to eat the fruits and vegetables raw. You understand? Or you juice it, because when you juice the fruits and the vegetables, is you get in raw, you get in the raw ingredient nutrients from it. And when you're cooking your fruits and your especially your vegetables, don't cook it out too soft. You have to try and cook it so that it's crispy when you're eating it. You understand? Yeah, and whole grain foods. So you see, cutting out like white flour and white bread is good to cut out that out of the diet when you're growing old. Cutting out white bread, white, everything, white. That is like that. You cut out carbs and all them things and go for whole wheat foods, and you have to also think about foods that high in vitamins and minerals. Yeah, so you still have to put those things in place while you're growing old so that you can still stay young. Yeah. Yes. And with the exercise, I was saying that start small, and then maybe 3 times a week. You can start from 3 times a week and gradually build on it. So you can maybe, if it's walking, you want to walk, you just walk for like a 15 minutes one evening, and then the next evening you go to 20 minutes, and then the next evening you go to 25, and then the next evening you go to um 30 minutes. And then you see you start walk at 1 hour. You can start at like 3 days a week, and then in no time, by keep doing it, you end up start walking 7 days a week. You understand? 7 days a week. Mm. And again, growing old. When you're growing old, you have to stay away from alcohol. Yep. So if you used to drink like 3 or 4 glasses of wine per week, 7 glasses of wine per week, you have to try now to cut it down, start cutting it down to maybe a 4 glass per week, till you cut it down to a 2 glasses, yeah, and then till you probably cut it out completely. Because by start cutting it down slow, if you used to take 7 glasses a week, don't just jump straight into stop drinking, because you can't just stop for something like that. You have to start practice, and start doing it less and gradually less until you not even remember. So you used to drink it and then never know. One day you was wake up and you're alcohol free, not drinking again. You understand? You're not drinking alcohol much again. You maybe start even drinking all once in a while. Maybe when you go on a night out, that is the only time you'll take alcohol. Because by doing something, because the practice becomes perfect. You understand? Practice becomes perfect. And that is the most important thing. Once you start practicing gradually, you'll become perfect. Yes. So that is one more thing to add to staying young while growing old, is cutting out alcohol out of your diet. All right, so we can recap of what we talk about. Remember, we talk about exercising, take up exercise, and then eating right, eating vegetables and fruits and whole grain foods. And then you're going to try to cut out the alcohol of your drinks. And guys, see, when you start getting old, growing old, there is a thing in your life that you have to start try to do, and it is very hard to do that. Relaxation. Rest and relaxation. Restoration and rest. You understand? Relaxation is so important when you're getting older. You have to start to slow down. Start to gradually start slowing down. So that means to say, at a certain point, if you used to run down the overtime and you used to work full time, 36 hours a week plus overtime, so you maybe like some 48 hours per week, 56 hours per week. When you're growing older, to stay young, you have to start cut down back on that them shift and start to find time for yourself to relax. So if you find time for yourself to know that, all right, maybe one day out of the week, you're going to know that you're just gonna do like a nice self-care where you're gonna do a relaxation day, put some aromatherapy oils into your bath. You understand? You have a special time when you do that for yourself and you just lie down and relax. You have a day when you know, say, listen, you now come out of your bed today yet. Not so early. You're gonna have a lie in that bed and relax. You understand? You're gonna rest. You're gonna take a day off and you're not go no body place. You're gonna relax yourself, sit on your sofa, you understand, and relax and rest and read, guys. Take up reading. Read a book. Find a book to read. You understand? And relax. And get a journal, guys. Get a journal and start journaling. Start write down little things, reminiscing. Take up the photo album. Sometimes you have to have a photo album, your house, apart from the picture and the social media. Start putting back your photo album together. Have a little photo album. You understand? Where you can go and flick through all the photos and reminiscing. Reminisce about the past and look at the pictures in a little in your album so that you can minimize going on the media for even half an hour. You understand? Yeah, so those are the little things I'm involving myself because I'm trying to do that as well. Start to do when we're growing old, you understand? Older, so we have to practice to start to relax. You see, when you start doing that, things like that, you will feel empty at first. You will feel empty, like you lost something. And when you see that emptiness that you will feel as if it's not empty, it's filled with emptiness. And so when a room is filled with silence, it not mean that nothing is not happening for you. It meant that you are actually having a moment of silence in your life. You're slowing down. You understand? You're relaxing. So having a time of silence is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you are, not doing nothing. You're just there doing nothing. Doing nothing sometimes is very important to you to get you to relax and rest and restore your body. You understand? So that you can keep on looking young while growing old. Okay? So that is one more thing that we need to start doing while we are growing old, And the person just asked me, but they deleted it. If I regret. Yeah, like the person is saying that if I regret growing, that I'm growing old. You understand? Guys, there is another thing that you can do when you're growing old to stay young. Is a thing called meditation. You understand? Meditation. You just sit down and just start imagine, for me come from Jamaica, and Jamaica full of beaches and the food and the music and the whole ambience of everything. Sometimes you have to sit down and relax and meditate and just take yourself, just consider yourself at the beach, on the beach in Jamaica. You listen to the sound of the wave, the beach, you hear the birds singing, the everything just happening, and you take yourself away for a 15-20 minutes meditating about that. That is very, very helpful, guys. You have to take up meditation, consider yourself somewhere peaceful, somewhere where you're enjoying, you're relaxing. You don't think about any bills. You're not worried about the bills, the whole stress, what life comes with, the challenges of life. You put that aside. Whenever time you get in chances in your life that you can slow down, what happened when we are growing old as well is that sometimes our children, just like me, our children get older and start to go moving away from home, flying the nest, and then we start to take up a lot of things to do to fill that space, that empty space, when we should just try to accept that space and let it fill with emptiness. And gradually that empty space after a while will be so filled with joy, because you will have time to reminisce about how you raise the kids, the memories that you share with them, the way you grow them right. You make sure you provide all the necessary things in life, and now they're on their way to do the same for their family. That alone will fill you, that empty space inside of you, and you will start enjoying now your time now to do this meditation, to have time to relax and restore and re-energize. You understand? And rest. You understand? And you know that look after this, you can start part-time, then you're gonna start going to retirement, where you're gonna just doing things at your own leisure, as long as life lasts. You understand, guys? Those are the things that comes with growing old and trying to stay young while you're growing old. Yeah? So growing old is not a bad thing. No, it is not, because it is a gift that a lot of people did not receive. So how can you feel bad growing old? You can't, because there's a lot of people that didn't receive that gift. And the trauma the family and face when we know that, like, a young person, didn't get that gift, because it's still a gift that deny to many. You understand? And yet still we get that, most people get that opportunity and don't, and hiding the gray hair and hiding the stages of growing old by changing it, by filling the spaces with artificial things to look young. But you can stay young, but don't want to change the process of growing old, because growing old is a process, and it is a process that denied to many. So if you find yourself in that situation and that space where you are actually growing old and receiving that gift, take it, but just find ways and means to minimize the do's and the don'ts, that can help you to stay young while growing old. Yeah. So yes, guys, so meditation is a great way to start, helping you to make the most of those autumn years, just make the most of growing old. Guys, I found that growing old also taking up a hobby. Taking up a hobby is also another part of helping you to stay young while growing old. A lot of us, see, I take up this. This is what I took up. You understand? I take this up. I take up doing YouTube and also sharing this sort of information with others because I have experienced a lot, you know, and great things, and I can share it with others. And it's something that I took up now. This, what I'm doing, is helping me to find myself again because getting to 50 and knowing that all my children are adults, because as I mentioned today, I was talking about whether having children young or old, which one um, would you prefer? For me, I would not change the fact that I have my children young. And when I'm 50, all of my children are grown and adult, and now I don't have any. I wouldn't change that for the world. You understand? I prefer that. I enjoy it now. Now, look, I feel free, and I'm, even though I'm 50 and growing old, I'm not that old that I cannot do a few little things. You understand? While now the children can go off and be doing their thing, and I now can take this up. Yeah. So taking up a hobby, and when I say taking up a hobby, it can become like gardening, knitting, you know, doing other little things, new things. Maybe you can start do sewing, things that you wanted to do but you didn't get to do it. You can, some people. Hi, um it's Gracelyn. Hi, Gracelyn. Thank you. Yeah, so you can take up a hobby. So if you take up a hobby, it will keep you, it will enable you to stay young while growing old. You understand? Yeah. You can start go to golf if you if you like it. You can even start running again, dancing, yoga. Yeah, all them things. Yeah, you can use your past experiences and start to talk to people and help them. You can take up befriending, like befriend elderly people and help them, volunteer, you know, things like that you can do. And that will help you to stay young while growing old, you know. So guys, yeah. So that is one of the things that you can do again. Take up a hobby. Hmm. Yeah, I love gardening, and I'm gonna tell you that I had a garden. I've been living here nearly 20 years, and I am enjoying the garden now. Pardon me. For the past 10 years since I turned 40, I started enjoying the garden. And prior to that, if I had if I had if I did love gardening from like 20 years ago, I would have some beautiful tall flowers and plants in the garden. But I really didn't. I was so busy raising the kids, the children. I didn't take up gardening. I just know that the garden is there for them to go into the garden to play. But now, when I saw that the children are getting older and gradually leaving home, I started to find love for the garden in a different way by starting to plant a few more plants and watering it and doing all of that, you know. So I try to gradually take up a hobby, and that is that, and now I love it. You know, I can sit and weed that garden and you would think that is, is somebody else do it, and I don't feel anywhere doing it. Yeah. Mm. And that gardening, when I'm doing it, it keep my mind so active. it keep my mind so active. Yeah, it keep my mind active, guys. I can sing. I still sing. I used to do singing when I was young, and I always sing, but now I still sing. I love singing, dancing, fashion. I love all of that. And I'm 50 and I still do all of that. I still does it. Yeah. Don't I still do it because that helps me to stay young while growing old. Keeping active is a very, very important part of staying young while growing old. You must keep active, guys. Take up a hobby today. Trust me, if you've got a garden and you are not paying it any mind, just take by going to the shops that like B&Q if you're in England, home base, and buy a couple garden tools and a garden pan, a little garden can, watering can, and just start. Yeah, yeah, start. And you will see, yeah. Because you see when you retire, yeah, when I am sort of I'm semi-retired. To me, I'm semi-retired. I'm not fully blown retired, but I'm semi. But when I'm saying, you see, when you're full blown retired, you still have to either start do the garden, volunteering. You have to take up some hobby to keep you active, you know. You can't just retire and start just sit down and lie down in the bed and not moving. You're gonna mash up yourself if you're not moving. You still have to stay active. Yeah. So being retired doesn't mean that you're gonna just no, you're just gonna be resting and not doing anything. You're going to have like a agenda. You know, you're still gonna have this agenda where you know that, oh, I'm gonna take up volunteering for 2 days where I go and befriend, you know, and I'll probably go to the food bank to help out. You probably pop into a charity shop for a few hours to help out. You may be going to like a residential home to befriend some little elderly residents and have a conversation with them. You know, by doing so, keep you young while growing old. You understand? And it take your mind off things. You understand? So you have to have it here. When growing old, you have to keep up here active, the mind. You understand? Guys, did you know that when you're growing old, when you're growing old and like retire, you can start eating a lot, you know. So you now have to make sure that you are managing the fact that you don't overeat. Don't overeat. And when you're in growing old, in your 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, try not to overeat. You have to eat at a space where you know you can manage and maintain your diet. Don't overeat, guys, because it can happen. You can start because you're not working anymore, you have the leisure of life. You know, you have the money now, you have time, because there are three things, guys, in life that people would like to have at the same time. And that's time, money, and energy. But you see them three things, they don't work together. Not so easy. Money, time, and energy, the three don't work together. You either have the money and you don't have the energy, but you have the time. You understand? You either have the time and the money, no energy. The money and the time, no energy. The time and the money, no energy. The energy and the time, no money. The money and the energy, no time to spend it. You understand? So them trees up there hard to get. So if you ever in the position where you ever have them tree, enjoy it. But don't overeat. When you get to this age, you have to start manage and maintain that diet. And you see, smoking is another big one again. Don't keep on smoking. You have to quit it. But you know you can't just quit it just like that if you're a smoker. But you have to take your time now to say, if I used to smoke 10 a day, you have to start go down and start to smoke 2 a day and until you stop. You have to try and quit that when you're growing old. But staying young to grow old, you have to quit. Like quit the smoking. Yes, people. And not even drugs like that. You must not take them things that are unnecessary. You understand? You try to keep away from that. Smoking. And don't drink too much. I mentioned that already. Don't drink too much alcohol. Cut that down. You understand? And you see, when you retire and you go back like in the Caribbean or Jamaica and all them places, there is one thing that we have to try to do is to not expose to the sun too much. Especially if you migrated and move away and live in the cold country and you go back to retire back in the hot country, there's one thing, the important thing, and I'm going to leave it tonight right at this when I finish. When you retire and go back in the sun, you must not stay in the sun in the peak time. Between 11 to 3, try to stay out of the sun. Because your body don't use to the blood rushing to the organs them like that. So when the blood start, when you're active back in the sun, especially if you leave out of the sun to a cold country and then retire back in the hot country, and now your blood start to move, the blood is not now going to start rush to the organs them too fast. And over the years, when you were like living in like in the cold country, the blood start moving to the organs at a slower pace. But then when you retire and go and live in the hot, and the blood start running to the organs, then it can cause a problem. So between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., always try to stay out of the sun. Okay, so that is all I have to say tonight about growing older, but the do's and the don'ts about growing old and things that you can do to stay young while growing old. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I'm E, your host for E&J Lifestyle Farm, and this farm we do everything lifestyle. And I thought, thank you so much for joining me on the farm tonight. We do the work on the farm, you watch the video, and all you have to do is like, share, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I promise you that if you comment, I will call out your name. I will say hi to you. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, I will call out your name and say hi to you if you comment. Okay, so I'll meet you in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for making it E&J Lifestyle Farm. Good night, guys. I'm out of here. Bye now. Bye.